The Umbrella Academy is coming back for another season, and this time they're bringing the Sparrows along for a ride. And the end of the world too, of course. So who is this Sparrow Academy we keep seeing in the show's photos, and what's their story? We'll tell you all about that in this video. First up, the story so far. The second season of the show ended with some major developments and cliffhangers. First, we see the handler die at the hands of the last Swede, who is convinced by Five to stop killing them. Finally, we all see Lila time jump in the confusion of the events, and Vanya takes back Harlan's powers so he can live in peace again. We'll talk more on that later. The Hargreaves are finally ready to go back in 2019 to save the world, and as they make the jump, they believe they've finally done it and things are back to normal. But they're proven wrong when they find Reginald Hargreaves and the Sparrow Academy show up, and surprise, surprise, they botch the time jump again. So what is the Sparrow Academy and what can they do? The Umbrella Academy comics, created by Gerard Way and Gabriel Ba, have always teased the existence of the Sparrow Academy, but it's the first time ever that the show's mentioned them to us. To give you a short intro, there are yet another group of superpowered siblings born on October 1st, 1989, and who Reginald allegedly adopted and trained, just like he did with the Umbrella Academy. So who are the Sparrows and what can they do? We don't have a lot of information from the comics because even there, they appeared in the end of the third issue named Hotel Oblivion, with a fourth comic named The Sparrow Academy still in the works. But Netflix has been providing fans enough information to keep them on the edge. And if you're as eager to find out about them as we were, let's cut right to the chase with the new characters of the show. Starting with number 1, Marcus. Played by Justin Cornwell, Marcus is the leader of the group and is the arch rival to Luther in position and in superpower, which, you guessed it right, is super strength. He's being called a charming, chiseled colossus who keeps the family together and oozes leadership without even having to raise his voice. So basically a more put together Luther, right? Next we have a familiar and favorite face as number 2, Justin Min as Ben. Now this is a surprising take by the creators because we saw Ben die in season 2 while saving his siblings. But that's the thing about fantasy shows, they can make anything happen. So now we have Ben, a sparrow who is very unlike the lovable ghost Ben we were used to seeing. According to Netflix, this version of the character is a tactician wrapped in the body of a pretty boy with an inner squid who's super competitive, vicious, and determined to gain status as the leader at all costs. We've seen that much in the trailer, and we can't wait to see him sparring with Klaus in his new complicated persona. The third of the Sparrows is Faye, played by Brittany Olford, who's seen wearing sunglasses in most of her appearances so far. In the comics, we see a similar character levitating, so maybe she can do the same here too. Faye is a bit of a recluse who would rather spend her time alone than with anyone else, and will probably be the smartest person in the room. But if crossed, she can hunt you down easy because her superpower, aside from possible levitation, also includes setting a murder of crows on you. Scary, but exciting. The fourth of the group is Alfonso, the misshapen member who uses his body as a voodoo doll to harm his enemies. Played by Jake Epstein, he's probably the pain-inflicting member of the troupe and is armed with a sense of humor we can't wait for him to use on 5. Speaking of which, the number 5 on the opposing team this time is Sloane, played by Genesis Rodriguez. Her character's powers aren't revealed yet, but according to fans, she may have similar mind-controlling powers as Allison. She is described as a calm, romantic personality by Netflix, whose family ties have kept her sticking to the Sparrows. Now, that's an interesting character, and we'd really like to know more about her. On 6, we have Jamie, played by Kazi David. Because of her blue outfit under the Sparrow jacket, we assume she may be the black beam shooting character from Hotel Oblivion. Her powers also include a fear-inducing snarl, and is described by Netflix as a loner, with Alfonso as her only friend. And last but not least, we have Christopher, played by none other than a CG cube, and who is described as an existential dread-inducing psychorium cube who can turn a room freezing cold and induce paralyzing fear in people. Who doesn't love a telekinetic cube you can carry along like a pet? But mind you, Christopher is far from a pet cube, and we can't wait to see what he does in the show. And of course, aside from these new faces, we have our usual broken and beloved Hargreaves siblings, whose problems just don't seem to end, but who are also on the lookout for their old friends, including the genetically advanced chimpanzee Pogo, who we also get to see in the trailer. So now that we have our characters, let's talk about the theories fans have about them and the new season. Theories and more. The first theory is the introduction of Hotel Oblivion itself. This hotel is a metaphysical location in a pocket dimension where Reginald Hargreaves imprisons the supervillains fought by the Umbrella Academy. Imagine it as Arkham Asylum from Batman's world, if you will. That's because the comics and the show have been going pretty steady when it comes to the storyline. The first comic issue, Apocalypse Suite, focused on the end of the Umbrella Academy's reign as superheroes and then having to come back together to save the world. The second issue, Dallas, features them with new problems and threats, including a crew of assassins who wanted to kill them and who we saw as the Swedes in the show. So it's likely that the story of the third issue will be covered in the show's third season. Fans are waiting to see if they'll introduce a bunch of villains right away, or we'll have one titular villain with the rest in tow. Another theory suggests that Harlan has something to do with the creation of Sparrow Academy. According to what we saw in Season 2, Vanya may have taken her powers from Harlan, but she did leave something behind because he was shown levitating a toy in the very end of the show. Being set in 1963, 26 years behind the birth of the 43 children, it is possible that Reginald found Harlan as the first superpowered prodigy and created the Sparrow Academy to help him control his powers, or to defeat him as his powers got out of hand. It is also being said that it could be Five, who helped his father set up the Sparrow Academy as a more successful version of the Umbrella Academy. We all saw how the meeting between Reginald and his future adopted kids went. Entertaining as it was also a failure, and it's possible that the man learned from his mistakes and used Five's help to create a better group of superheroes to save the world. If you asked us, we're waiting for the Harlan theory to be true because honestly, that kid looked like he needed a little intervention to control his powers. But whatever the reason behind the creation of the Sparrow Academy may be, one thing is for sure, we're hyped to see them on screen. And for the last theory, we have the most obvious one, that the Sparrows will join forces with the Umbrellas to fight the end of the world, or another supervillain maybe. Of all the theories we've heard so far, this one is most likely to come true. Why? Because it happens in the comics as well. That's right, the comics haven't told us much about the Sparrow Academy, but what they do tell us is that it is the Sparrows who help Vanya gain her walking abilities back after she's left wheelchair-bound because of her injuries from a battle. And by the very end of the comics, both groups come together for a final battle against the evils of Hotel Oblivion, after which we see Lucas call Marcus his brother, which further proves that they are from the very same group of mysteriously born children adopted by Reginald Hargreaves, and that a final battle of epic proportions is waiting for us in the show's final episodes, which is why you'll find us on June 22nd with a load of snacks, ready to watch how Five manages to screw up the world again along with his group of broken superheroes and their equally crazy siblings from the future. That's a wrap for this video. Who's your favorite Sparrow Academy member so far? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.